I'm Sherman from SSC Science Tutorials, and today I'll be covering Chapter 4 of the Form 1 syllabus, which is cells. This will be like a brief revision of what you have learned and like a introduction of sorts to biology overall. So if you want to go in depth or revise for exams, you can watch this video or just revise yourself. So yeah, let's just start. So this PowerPoint or this video would cover like introductions of what are cells, like animal cells, plant cells, how to use microscope, and cell reproduction, so cell division stuff. And so yeah, let's start. So first we have animal cells. So the basic diagram below shows the four main components of most animal cells. So first we have the cytoplasm, the nucleus, cell membrane, and mitochondrion, which is singular for mitochondria. So what are the functions of these four components? So first we have the cytoplasm, which is the medium where most chemical reactions takes place in the cell. So what chemical reactions takes place, you don't need to know, just know that it's the place where chemical reactions takes place. So then we have the nucleus, which contains genetic materials which controls the activities of the cell. It is similar to like how it controls what the cell would do and all the activities that takes place in the cell. So it is very important. Without the nucleus, the cell is just a husk and has no function. And now we have the cell membrane, which controls the movement of substances in and out of cells. You would learn more about the use of cell membrane in the future if you take biology. So yeah. And we have mitochondrion, which is the powerhouse of the cell. For more in-depth definition, it's actually it actually generates chemical energy needed to power the cell's reactions. So it basically is like an energy generator. It generates energy, basically. And now we have plant cells. As you can see, the diagram shows like what the animal cells have. So we have the same as the cytoplasm, the nucleus, the cell membrane, and mitochondrion, which are present in animal cells. But now in plant cells, we have more, such as the cell wall made of cellulose, the permanent vacuole, the large permanent vacuole, and chloroplast. So what the cell wall does is to protect, support, and give shape to the plant cells. And if you learn more in depth into biology in the future, you'll know how the cell wall protects and provides the structure of the cell. It is very important. So we have the vacuole, which contains water and stores minerals. And that's all you need to know about the vacuole. So yeah. Then we have chloroplast, which is where photosynthesis takes place in order to make food. So if you don't know, photosynthesis is to convert light energy into chemical energy to provide energy for the plant. And reminder that not all plant cells contain chloroplast. So some plant cells, for example, like the root cells, don't have chloroplast because they don't interact with light at all. So yeah, and the chloroplast gives like the green hue to the plant. So because the plant contains the chloroplast, it is green. So yeah. So we have a brief comparison between animal cells and plant cells. So the shape in plant cells are rectangular or regular basically, and animal cells have an irregular shape. While plant cells have a cell wall to protect them, animal cells don't. And lastly, plant cells contain a large vacuole, and animal cells don't. And yeah, chloroplast too. So yeah. Then let's move on to the microscope. We'll be covering the functions of microscope, easy level, how to use a microscope, what will you see, and pictures of like the animal cells and plant cells under the microscope. So this is a overcomplicated version of what you will need to learn. So there's the Microscope parts. We have like the eyepiece, the adjustment knobs, the nose piece, the objective lenses, the stage clip, etc., etc. You can see it yourself. So, what are the functions of the parts of the microscope? So there's uh, a match thing here. You can pause the screen and do, and I'll reveal the functions later. Okay, I will show it now. So the nose piece or holds the objective lens in place. So it's the thing that holds the lenses. And we have the eyepiece, what you look into. So yeah. So some are basically like straightforward, such as like the diaphragm, the base. So it's like the basic structure of the microscope. But for like the coarse and fine adjustment knobs are important because in order to see the cell or the specimen clearly, you'll need to zoom in and zoom out of using these adjustment knobs. So, and like how you need to know how the microscope works in order to know how to use a microscope. So yeah, you could see the functions and memorize it because they might come on your exams. So yeah. Now, how to use a microscope. Lab skills are really important for your future if you want to be studying the sciences, so biology, physics, and chemistry. You will need to learn how to use a microscope. So listen in class, listen carefully to know how to use one, like the steps, like define it, and like how to view a cell or the specimen clearly. So there would be a video in the description teaching you how to use a microscope if you don't listen in class, but uh, like personal experience is important in learning these lab skills. So further on, there's magnification, which you would need to calculate in exams or doing lab. So you can see the magnification triangle, I like to call it. So how to calculate the actual length of the specimen. So it's length of the image using your ruler over the magnification. And the magnification is calculated by the length of the image using your ruler and the actual length of the tiny cell. So yes, it might be confusing at first, but if you do it more, you'll understand it. Then these are the metric units of length, which I don't know if you need to do it to convert the lengths, but the more you know. So during exams, there will be like questions in MC that ask you what is the actual image of the specimen and what you would see in, through the microscope. So a good lab skill, a good exam tip is to flip the paper 180 degrees to see how how the image is seen through the microscope. So upside down and backwards. Always remember this because so you can see the Markiplier thing. You just flip it around and then you'll see what you'll see through the microscope. So this is a animal cell under a light microscope. So as you can see, there's like the nucleus, the cell membrane, the cytoplasm. But you might ask, hey, where's the mitochondria? You said like most plant cells have mitochondria. Because this is a light microscope, you can't see them directly through a light microscope because you would need to stain them to see them in detail. Uh, if you want to know like the detailed structure of mitochondria, you would need a light electron microscope to view it in detail. But if you want to see it through a light microscope, you would need to stain the specimen first in order to see the mitochondria. So now we have plant cells. This is a really detailed version of the plant cell. So you can see the macule, the mitochondria. The mitochondria can be seen because this is a high magnification of a plant cell. So there's chloroplast, a cell wall, and like yeah. And not all plant cells have mitochondria. You would need to know this, as I stated before. So lastly, we have cell division. So why do cells need to divide? Because when living beings grow, the number of cells would need to increase. And how do they increase? They use cell division. So the more you grow, the more cells would be present in your body. So what is the procedure of cell division? So first, the genetic materials which are present in the nucleus make copies of themselves, so they duplicate, just for say, because they need to be identical to the original cell. So an identical version of the genetic material would be needed. Then we have the nucleus divides into two, the cytoplasm also divides into two, and now two daughter cells are formed. So there's the parent and the daughter, so you need to remember the terms because they are really important. Then the daughter cells absorb nutrients and grow bigger, and they repeat back to the first step. So the genetic materials make identical copies, and more cells would be formed. As you can see on my very funny meme on the internet, which I copied from the internet, we have a simplified version of cell division, basic cell division. So this is a brief revision of what you have learned in cells, and hope you would be interested in these and listen in class. Remember, thank you.